Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're opening the files on what is arguably history's ultimate cold case. I want you to imagine an artifact so sacred, so untouchable, that merely brushing up against it meant instant death. This thing led armies into battle. It literally represented God on Earth, and then it just vanished. No confirmed destruction, no ransom notes, nothing. Let's dive right in and break down the history and the hard archaeological facts surrounding the Ark of the Covenant.
Seriously, what actually happened to history's greatest treasure? That single question has fueled a massive 2.5 millennia manhunt by archaeologists, legendary explorers, and entire empires. Was it destroyed in some fiery ancient siege? Was it smuggled away deep beneath the streets of Jerusalem? Or, wild as it sounds, is it sitting in a heavily guarded church today? Let's take a look at the actual evidence to uncover what we really know about this spectacular, mind-boggling disappearance.
Now, to really understand this disappearance, we first have to look at its design. According to the book of Exodus, the ark was this unparalleled chest made of acacia wood, completely overlaid in pure, shining gold. It featured the mercy seat and 2 golden cherubim on top. But check out those gold carrying rings and poles. You see, those weren't just for easy transport. They were a strict design requirement. The ark was considered so holy, and honestly, so dangerously powerful, that it was never, ever meant to be touched by human hands. And inside this golden chest rested the absolute, tangible symbols of the ancient Israelite faith. We're talking about the stone tablets of the 10 Commandments, the physical divine law itself. It also housed Aaron's budding staff and a golden jar of manna from the desert. So you have to understand, this wasn't just some ornate, pretty box. It was the absolute spiritual epicenter of their entire world.
Biblical accounts describe the ark as possessing this raw, almost terrifying power. I mean, it reportedly stopped the rushing waters of the Jordan River and completely crumbled the massive fortified walls of Jericho. But listen to this. It was just as dangerous to friends as it was to foes. There's a story where King David was transporting it, and a man named Uzzah reached out, just trying to steady the cart when it stumbled. The narrative records that he died instantly, right there on the spot.
So, tracing its journey, after years of wandering the desert, the Ark finally hit its golden age in the 10th century BC. It was housed inside King Solomon's magnificent first temple in Jerusalem. It sat in the pitch-black, deeply sacred room known as the Holy of Holies, visited by just one priest exactly once a year. But fast forward to the 1st century AD, and ancient Jewish writings confirm that the Second Temple's inner chamber was just completely empty. Somewhere between those two dates, the whole thing just vanished.
The timeline really points us to one critical date, 586 BC. This is ground zero for our cold case. That year, the Babylonian king Nebuchadnezzar II laid a brutal, devastating siege to Jerusalem. Solomon's magnificent temple was completely burned to the ground, and thousands of people were marched away into exile. And it's right here, amidst all this absolute devastation, that the Ark simply drops off the map of human history.
But here is the ultimate historical twist. The Babylonians? They were notoriously meticulous record keepers. Biblical texts actually provide incredibly detailed lists of exactly what they looted from the burning temple. We're talking gold lampstands, bronze pillars, sacred vessels. Yet the Ark, literally the most valuable object in the entire kingdom, is completely absent from every single inventory list. I mean, think about it. Why on earth isn't the absolute greatest spoil of war even mentioned?
Well, that glaring omission sparks our first major theory. The ark was actually hidden before the invaders ever breached the city walls. There's an ancient text called 2 Maccabees that claims the prophet Jeremiah actually foresaw the doom of the city. So he took the ark and sealed it away in a hidden cave on Mount Nebo. He supposedly declared that the location would remain totally unknown until God gathered his people together again.
It's a thrilling scenario, right? Like something straight out of a movie. But modern scholars remain highly skeptical. Why? Well, there's just a complete lack of archaeological proof. Extensive, modern surveys of Mount Nebo have turned up absolutely nothing. Furthermore, historians are quick to point out that 2 Maccabees was written centuries after the Babylonian invasion, so it's really more of a later tradition rather than a reliable eyewitness account.
So if it didn't leave the region, perhaps it just went down.
This brings us to Theory 2, which suggests the ark is hidden directly beneath Jerusalem's Temple Mount. You see, the mount isn't just a solid hill of rock. Archaeologists have actually mapped ancient tunnels and water systems crisscrossing deep beneath it. The idea here is that faithful priests rapidly lowered the ark into these secret, pre-constructed underground vaults right as the city was falling.
Now, it is a highly compelling theory, absolutely, but it's also currently impossible to prove. The Temple Mount happens to be one of the most politically and religiously sensitive pieces of real estate on the entire planet. Because of this, scientific excavation beneath it is extremely limited, and usually it's just strictly forbidden altogether. So without the ability to run a massive modern dig, this theory remains totally frozen in place.
Since we can't dig there, we have to look outward, thousands of kilometers away, to our third theory, the Ethiopian claim. There's a fascinating medieval Ethiopian text called the Kabrina Ghost, and it claims the Ark was actually relocated to Africa centuries before the Babylonians even showed up. According to this tradition, it was brought to the city of Aksum by Menelik I, who was the son of King Solomon and the Queen of Sheba.
And the claim gets even bolder. The Ethiopian Orthodox Church states that the genuine Ark rests today inside the Church of St. Mary of Zion. But here's the catch. There is a strict, absolute ban on any scientific examination. Tradition says a single guardian monk dedicates his entire life to protecting it, and no historian or camera crew has ever been allowed inside. So, without independent verification, the mystery holds strong.
Okay, let's jump to the mid-20th century, when a pretty tantalizing clue surfaced right alongside the famous Dead Sea Scrolls. One scroll in particular was completely different from the rest. Instead of parchment, it was literally engraved on thin sheets of copper. And what was on it? It listed dozens of hidden treasures buried throughout ancient Judea. It sent absolute shockwaves to the archaeological community. Could this actually be the treasure map to the sacred temple objects?
Well, unfortunately, the Copper Scroll remains its own frustrating mystery. While it's undeniably an incredible archaeological find detailing massive amounts of hidden gold and silver, it never explicitly names the Ark. Treasure hunters have been following its clues for decades, but they keep coming up empty-handed. Really, all it proves is that people definitely hid their treasures during times of crisis, but it gives us no confirmed location for our ultimate prize.
So, where does this all leave us? Well, the consensus among modern historians is pretty clear. The Ark was almost certainly a real, highly significant physical object. It appears in way too many distinct historical records to just be a mere myth. However, its ultimate fate, whether it was melted down for scrap by the Babylonians or perfectly concealed in a dark cave, remains entirely unproven by modern science. The hard evidence simply vanishes in 586 BC.
Which really brings us to a final, thought-provoking question. Is the Ark's greatest significance where it physically is, or what it represents? You know, for believers, it remains the ultimate symbol of a divine covenant. And for historians, it's a rather humbling reminder that history still tightly guards its deepest secrets. Thank you for joining me for this explainer. What do you think happened to the Ark? Keep questioning and never stop discovering.